motherfucker, this one West. It's only us, there ain't nothing else. You fake niggas is something else.
Go to that real quick, read that.
The book of 1 John chapter 3 verse 4. Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
See, I don't think Christians know that. I don't think Christians know what a sin is, because they teach that everybody sins. Everybody sins. Now, I'm not saying everybody does not. Everybody has sin. That's one thing. But to say that everybody sins, you got to know what a sin is. Read it again.
Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law.
So now it's something you have to do. You got to transgress the law to get a sin. So now, think for me. Just stay with me real quick. If a baby has never learned to talk, how could the baby sin? If you were born a paraplegic and never got out the hospital bed, how can you sin? So now that opens up a new theory that maybe everybody doesn't sin. We got to find out what a sin is, and it's according to the Lord. Now, if you run this red light right here, it's wrong. It's against America's law, but is it a sin though? You understand? Running a red light is not a sin. You shouldn't do it. You would get a ticket, but according to the Bible, it's not a sin. Eating pork, however, is. Right. So running a red light is bad, but it's not a sin. Eating the pork is good to you, but to the Lord, it is a sin. Right. Read it again.
Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
So now, in order for us to be born again and not be sinners anymore, we have to know what a sin is. Because you think sinning is being a bad person, and that's not true. It's real. It's way more intricate than that. Smoking is a sin. Being drunk is a sin. Homosexuality is a sin. Being a drug addict is a sin. Committing adultery is a sin. You understand? So we got to learn what a sin is, and your pastor won't teach you that. Because if he teaches you what a sin is, then you'll be able to judge him. Right. Because nowhere in the Bible does it say you shouldn't judge nobody. Right. Nowhere in the Bible it says only God can judge me. That's a Tupac lyric. Right. You understand? The Bible actually says the contrary. Isaiah 58:1 says, lift up your voice like a trumpet and show my people their transgression. What's the transgression?
Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law.
So now judging is a part of the law. We are supposed to judge, but here's the thing: you can't judge a sinner if you're a sinner. Right. You can't tell this homosexual to stop being gay if you cheating on your husband. Right. So because you sinning and you can't point the finger, it leaves no accountability in the Christian church. Right. Nobody can say anything to anybody. But here's the heavy part of it. So that means the homosexual can't say anything to the liar. That means the adulterer can't call out the gay man, can't call out the choir. That means the person eating pork can't call out the preacher for lying. Right. Here's the heaviest one. The person who is lying cannot call out the man that's molesting kids. Do you hear that? Do you see how that works? When you say no sin is greater than the other, and all of us have sinned, and sin ain't that bad anymore, and because Christ died, we can still sin because there's no law, but you don't keep that same energy when it comes to child molestation. Right. You don't keep that same energy when it comes to rape. So now when it comes to murder, rape, and child molestation, those things are bad. But adultery, homosexuality, and eating pork, those things are not bad. We got to make our mind up on what's a sin. But you don't have to really make your mind up. Just read the Bible. Read it again.
Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
So now, because we're all sinners, I guess we're all transgressing the law. So if you stop transgressing the law, what do you stop? You stop sinning. Right. But because y'all don't teach the law in church, nobody can stop sinning. We got to be able to identify what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. Just like you know you're not supposed to run a red light. You know, if you run it, all black folks know what offenses will get them a ticket and get them to go to jail. We're not paralegals or whatever they call them or lawyers, but we know what'll get you 5 to 10. So now, what about when it comes to what'll get you to the kingdom and out of the kingdom? Reading the Bible. It's more than 10 commandments. First of all, it got to be more than 10 commandments, because I don't think homosexuality is one of the first 10. I don't think that's on there. And we all know homosexuality is wrong. So where are we finding that? Throughout the Bible. This whole Bible is filled with laws, statutes, and commandments. It's filled with what you shouldn't do and what's going to happen to you if you do it.
The fact that King James.
The who?
The fact that King James, the fuck his daughter, the fuck his
The faggot King James. You talking about the one that got the Bible translated, right?
The fuck his wife, the fuck his daughter, and his little boy.
Well, I'll say this. I don't know that King James. You understand? But what I do know, I know revisionist history. I know the people who wins the war rewrites the history. I know while King James was living, there was not one alleged homosexual allegation while he was living. But 40 years after he died, it's when they came out. So now, if I don't never say nothing when you hear,
that's right. That's why I wondered about.
I don't never say nothing when you hear, you a real nigga.
They let him write
But when you
down.
leave, oh, he was fake, he was fraud.
Yeah.
Nah, see what it is King James didn't write this. I can break down King James real quick. King James was a black man who ruled Scotland in the 1600s. But they tell you in the 1600s, you was just niggas in Africa. King James was black. Yes. Was an exact. Christ was black too. Right. King James was from the same lineage. Not of Christ, but of being an Israelite. So now, I'm not saying King James was a righteous man. I'm just telling you King James was black.
I thought him and Shakespeare were real tight stuff.
No, I don't know about all that. Because by the time King James, Shakespeare go back with what's the nigga name that made the like Leonardo and them, the painters. No, I'm saying Da Vinci and them. So no, we ain't saying that. But I think Shakespeare was black though. Don't quote me on that. But I think Shakespeare was black.
I think Shakespeare wrote Psalms.
No. See, it's been a misconception that people have written this. Know what I'm saying? No, Shakespeare didn't write anything in the Bible. King James didn't write the Bible. Let me tell you what King James did do. He paid for it to be translated though. Because at the time the Bible was only written in Latin. So the people who had the Bible were the priests. Were the Catholics, the ones that could speak Latin, which is a dead language. So whoever controlled the Bible controlled God. Just like when they came over here and established Christianity over here. Whoever controlled the Bible controlled the Most High. So now if you can't read Latin, and you can't read Latin, but I can, how do you get the word? You get it from me. So King James was going back and forth with the priests because he wanted to divorce his wife. And they wouldn't grant him a divorce. So what he did was strip them of their power by making the Bible accessible to everybody. That's why if you pick up that King James 1611, you don't find Jesus in there because the J wasn't invented. Know what I'm saying? You know, the U's and V's were interchangeable. So he got the Bible translated to the King's English. Know what I'm saying? So here's the bigger thing though. American history started in Jamestown 1607. Know what I'm saying? That's when they first came over here, Jamestown. Well, King James commissioned the Bible to be translated in 1604. So while they're coming over here to establish the 13 colonies, King James was ruling Scotland, a black man. But they tell us, yeah, you was kings and queens at one point, but that was so long ago. No.
I'm on the Jamestown River down here in Jamestown. With Lynch. He was like, I'm down here on the river down here in Jamestown.
Yeah. But more importantly, King James was a black man. Right, I know. Put it like this, the original Europeans were dark-skinned people. The original Anglo-Saxons were dark. Now, they wasn't Israelites, they wasn't black like us, they were Japhetic. But they were dark-skinned people. But here's the thing, when you win the war, you rewrite the history. So when you take over Greece, you become the Greek.
Hannibal?
Who?
Hannibal who? The black man Hannibal came from Africa, went over them hills and made all the people with that black hair.
I've heard this before, but I haven't studied, so I don't want to give you no wrong information on that. But here's the thing, though. Oh yeah, the noble families. Like okay, All right, so this is a little deeper than know what I'm saying. I would want to go. Know what I'm saying? This is more like a class. But what this is this is the houses of the black noble families. Like if you ever heard of the Caldwells and This is nature knows no color line. Right. See, now this is why we keep these books over here, because these line up with the Bible. You understand? Jesus was a black man. King James was a black man. Paul was a black man. Adam was a black man. Isaiah, Issachar, Judah, Joseph, Benjamin are all black people. So now if these are all black people, where do the white people come in from teaching it? And here's why, because they conquered us. When we came over here with, here you go, sir, Salakim. When we came over here through slavery, what they gave us, they didn't give us this whole Bible. They gave us Proverbs, Psalms, and the New Testament. In the New Testament, it talks about serving masters, and depending on your what's the word? Your version, it might say slave. Know what I'm saying? But the word slave isn't in here. It don't even use slavery like that. Like, it's indentured servants, or to say servants, not necessarily slaves. But they use, just like you use your kids to say, if you good this year, you get a Christmas present. If you're bad, you don't get nothing. You good slave, you go to heaven. Bad slave, you go to hell. So now, if good people go to heaven and bad people go to hell, where will all the slave masters be right now? They'll be in hell, right? So they'll be in hell. So now, if bad people go to hell, who the hell go to heaven? So now, if good and bad go to heaven, right? It gotta be. Because what funeral have you went to when the pastor said, well, we know this person going to hell? Never. You will never go to a funeral where the pastor say, well, and you've been to a funeral to somebody who didn't go to church. Right. You've been to a funeral of somebody who was not a church goer, didn't believe in Christ, but not one time did that pastor say, well, you know this brother was never in church. Yeah. He never paid a tithe. He's in hell right now. Don't be like him. Yeah, you don't hear that, because it's not the truth. If it was true, you should say it. You understand? What they've been doing is lying to us. It's a childish thing to think that if you're being a good person, you go to heaven. Right. Bad person, you go to hell. Right. If it was about good people getting rewarded, then why do white people got America? Well, have they been good? They have not been good. So how they get America? If we've been good, how do we get the ghetto? Because it's not about being good and evil. It's about transgressing the law. And if you go to Deuteronomy 28, so now in the Bible, Moses brought the children of Israel out, and he told them, if you keep the commandments, these blessings will come on you. But if you don't keep the commandments, these curses will come on you. Go to 15. We'll focus on the curses. Go 15.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee.
So now, he said all these curses if you don't keep the commandments. Now drop down to 68. Verse 68. Now this is something I'm sure you're familiar with. Read that.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With what?
With ships.
With what?
With ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
Be doing what?
Sold unto your enemies.
Sold to who?
Unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen.
Yeah, that, who've ever been on ships and sold to their enemies for bondmen and bondwomen? We have. We have. Because we did not keep the commandments. Because we were sinners who transgressed the law. That's right. Know what I'm saying? So that's why knowing what the law is so important. But in Christianity, they tell you you don't have to follow the law. And they saying Christ died so you didn't have to follow the law. What sense would that make if breaking the law is the reason why we went into slavery? It's the whole reason why the black people are in the ghetto. They've been brainwashing us to accept a childish doctrine.
Praises to the Most High. I ain't like most guys. Eyes on the future, but I learned from a boat ride. Tribe of Benjamin, inherited on both sides. Background Jamaican, mistreated, and I know why. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
Kwam Yasha Allah, sons of the power. Rise from the ghetto when Satan want us devoured. The seal of the Lord ain't found in church towers. Never dying on my knees like no coward. Wanna be an Israelite, you gon' need more than fringes. You gon' need to show you approve and get in them scriptures. Oh, I forgot to mention, traumatized from the lynching. Homicide, we the victim, homicide ain't the ending. Kids with PTSD, suffering symptoms, never getting treatment. Something he gotta sleep with. Stockholm syndrome so long that it ain't a secret. That's why I die for them.